Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money. In this video, I am going to tell you about the Principality of Andorra, one of the smaller countries in the world. I'll tell you where it is, why you should visit there, and how it might be of major importance to you if you enjoy long-term travel in Europe. If you are new here, I have created this channel to help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence. I have traveled the world, paid off a house in Spain, and I'm on a creative journey to financial independence. I believe that the road to financial freedom can and should be fun. I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on this journey, no matter where you are starting from. Have you heard of Andorra before? 5 years ago, when I began my world travels, I had no idea where Andorra was or even what it was, no clue at all. I wasn't known for my geography skills, but I was determined not to be embarrassed during my travels. I didn't want to be that American. So I downloaded a game on my phone called World. Honestly, I still love it. There's just nothing better than education made fun. In the game, it has a map of the whole world, and at the bottom are shapes and names of all the countries. You drag and drop them into the proper place, and it times you. When I first played the game, I think it took me about 45 minutes to complete. But I'm competitive, even with myself. I would play just about every time I was on a plane. Eventually, I got my time down to under 7 minutes, and that was using a world map that only had outlines on the continent, which is the hardest map to complete within the game. I would tell you to download it and play it yourself, but chances are you probably have an iPhone, and unfortunately, if you do, the game is not available for you. It's only available for me and my Android buddies. I'm sure all you iPhone lovers will probably have something similar if you are interested. So while I was playing this game for the first time, trying to figure out where the tiny country of Andorra was located took me quite a while, and I'm sure it was at least 5 minutes of the 45 that ticked away. As it turns out, Andorra is nestled in the Pyrenees Mountains and is bordered by Spain and France. It's only 1/3 the size of London, and it's basically a massive ski resort. When I dropped that little country into its place on the map, I had no idea that within 2 short years, I would be visiting Andorra myself. Of course, I also didn't know that a year later I would own a house in Spain. It is really astonishing what can happen in a year. Now, let me tell you a fascinating little secret about Andorra and why it matters if you want to spend extensive time in Europe. Andorra is one of the few Western European countries that is not part of the Schengen Agreement in Europe, nor is it part of the EU. What is the Schengen Agreement in Europe, you may ask? Well, I have a video dedicated to helping you understand everything you need to know about the Schengen area of Europe. This is important for anyone wanting to travel to Europe for long periods of time, specifically for those wanting to stay for over 90 days at a time or more than 90 days within a 180-day period. And that is how I ended up in Andorra myself. I was at my house in Spain and I had canceled some of my other travel plans. I woke up one day and realized that I was in jeopardy of overstaying my time in Spain or in the entire Schengen area. I used a Schengen calculator on my phone and realized that if I didn't get out of Spain for a few days, I would end up overstaying my time by 5 days, and I was fearful that the repercussions would not be worth it. The problem was that I already had a non-refundable fight, apparently. The problem was that I already had a non-refundable flight booked back to the US, and if I left early, I would end up missing the new year in Spain. I began to research nearby countries that are not a part of the Schengen area. Some of those include Albania, Montenegro, and Croatia. The UK is also an option, but I had not budgeted to spend money on airline tickets and Airbnb and possibly a vehicle just to be in another country for 5 days. I was really frustrated, and then I read that Andorra just happens to be a country that is not part of Schengen. My friend and I decided to take off on a road trip to Andorra. We traveled from the Valencia area, which is near my home in Spain, and it was about a 6-hour drive. We ended up taking a route that first took us into France, and from there we took a winding trip down the mountains that surrounded Andorra. The Schengen area of Europe is borderless, meaning that when you drive from country to country, you don't have to stop and show a passport. Andorra is not part of Schengen. However, it is very chill about its borders. They generally don't even stamp your passport, but in my case, I really needed my passport stamped. We didn't arrive at the border of Andorra until about 11:30 p.m., and I needed to have my passport stamped before midnight. Honestly, I'm such a last-minute person. I ended up having to get out of the car and try to find people at the border. I went into a room that had a window where a few employees were. They told me that all they have is a tourist stamp, but not an official stamp, and that I needed to drive into the village police station. So we drove to the village police station, and they ended up sending us back to the border. When we got there, I went back to the same people. They ended up telling me that I would need to get a stamp from the France official, since I was entering Andorra from France, and that the gentleman I needed to see was across the hall. They walked me over to him, where we waited a bit because he was having his break. He opened the door at 5 minutes until midnight. Eventually, we were able to find my entry stamp, and he gave me an exit stamp. Talk about a close call. Now for the fun part. Andorra is simply beautiful, surrounded by mountains with amazing ski and snowboard opportunities, plus a very cute and walkable city in the lower area. My friend and I had an amazing time. I've been snowboarding in a few locations, and Andorra is one of my favorites. My friend learned to snowboard while we were there, and the runs are so nice that she was doing blues with me on her second day. Now, in comparison to what I pay when I'm traveling in Europe, Andorra is definitely on the more expensive side, but it is still far cheaper than anywhere you would visit in the US, especially for ski vacations. We ended up staying in a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment at Tartar Mountain Suites, which is in the village of El Tartar, Andorra, that we booked with Booking.com. Usually I book with Airbnb, but the prices through Booking.com were the same or better, and sometimes there's just more convenience to a traditional booking. We paid 285 euros for 4 nights. That's about $300 US, so split 2 ways, it was just 150 per person. I know that may not seem all that expensive, but generally a $300 booking for me will be at least 2 weeks long. I have another video where I get more into the pricing of ski packages and rentals. In that one, I'm comparing Andorra to Lake Tahoe, so you can check that out if you want to know more about the pricing for snow sports. Now, Andorra is a unique little place as far as its oversight. It is a co-principality, and the co-princes are the President of France and the Catholic Bishop of Urgell of Catalonia. However, the head of the government is the Prime Minister of Andorra. The country has less than 100,000 residents, yet it sees over 10 million tourists every year, which is no surprise considering its beauty, relatively easy access from Spain or France, and reasonable prices for snow sports. We had an incredible time there, enjoyed 2 days of snowboarding, and on the way back home, decided to take the route that exits Andorra directly into Spain. I had to stop again and talk to the security official about stamping my passport. It was a little complicated, but he ended up stamping it and providing me with a 1 or 2 page document that had my name and information on it. It wasn't in English, but I just kept the copy with me in my passport in case I ever needed proof. You can tell that they don't often deal with people who are coming to Andorra in order to get out of the Schengen. If you don't need to go there for that purpose, then when you go in and out, you likely won't have to show your passport. They are very chill. My experience in Andorra was awesome, and I definitely plan to visit again and again during the winter ski season, since I have such easy access from my house in Spain. Nothing more than a fun road trip away. From the images I've seen, Andorra is beautiful in the summer and has a lot of cool historic sites to visit. I do believe you would find much better deals for accommodation during the summer, since that would be considered the off-season. I forgot to mention that you have to drive to Andorra. because they don't have an airport. So if you're looking to visit, you'd need to first fly into a nearby city. The easiest would be Barcelona, Spain, which is about 3 hours from Andorra. Let me know if you're interested in traveling to Andorra, or if you have any questions about Andorra, let me know in the comments and I will do my best to answer them for you. If you have enjoyed this video or learned a little something, please hit that like button and subscribe to join me every Sunday where travel and adventure build financial freedom. I can't wait to see where your dreams will take you.